That's a little bit silly. Just a little bit silly. Maybe even a lot. Hey guys, can you hear me? Hans Tang, Mendel, the Techno Echo. Super, super, super tired. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. Oh my goodness, the latency is so bad. I am so tired today that I started streaming from another profile and then I realized that it was not the right profile. So every time I decide not to do a test, we end up not in the good. All right, let's see here. My settings mostly reasonable. All right. So I thought it's interesting. I have several people that sent me an email asking me to compare basically the same thing, these all-in-one units versus like a normal pump, and compare the 9700 versus the 9900. And I guess they're working on some super special small form factor builds. I know that Jay-Z did a build recently in a Ghost where he used an all-in-one pump like this because he didn't have any room. And the question is a tiny pump like this really going to hold you back? And I really don't know. So I figured I would lazily try to see what we can see. And Jordan P.O. offers the first advice tonight, saying to run Windex through my loop. That's definitely what you should do. It's still better than Mayhem's for long-term use. I wonder how bad Windex would foam. That would be another interest. Maybe we should try that at the end of the stream tonight. I got plenty of Windex. And I like explosions. So I am completely unprepared today, guys. I have to actually set up kind of on camera. Very sorry. So tired. Missed the bus stop this morning. Was late picking up the kids. Luckily the neighbors got to them. I chased them down as they were going to the house. Ugh. I was up way too late last night. Actually, I don't need to show you this. I'll just set that up in a minute later. Unplug my current test bed. Untangle everything. It's Jay-Z as in Jay's. Yes. I was being a little bit silly. This is going to be a very silly stream. We're going to open a whole can of silliness. So expect me to make every mistake. The whole stream will be mistakes. In fact, if I do not make a mistake, that's where you should point it out to the audience. It will be more sensical to do it that way. I need more power strips. And I have a lot of power strips already. So that's saying something. Whoop. Yep. There we go. Maybe that will shine a little more light in my life. Okay. I feel like I'm making progress here, even though really all I'm doing is stalling. Okay. This. Mistake number 1, plugging into the wrong thing. Move this kind of out of the way for now. I found that you can unplug hot, but don't plug in hot. That's asking for it. Move that out of the way. Charles Blake asks a relevant question. When's the next shipment of the mini cases? And I don't know the answer to that. But yes, the mini did sell out over the weekend, so there are no more minis. So expect eBay prices to skyrocket. Or if you can pick one up on the forums now for a nominal price, I would do that. I don't know if they're going to go up in price, but last time the S4Mini Classic went like, it exploded to the 400 and above. And I really don't know what my plans are yet, so... Whereas the Mini Classic, I knew I was going to make some kind of new Mini. Alright, I think the best thing to do will be first to run the test just like this is. This is my Abomination cooler I have set up. It is my filled all-in-one cooler. I basically took an all-in-one and filled it with custom cables. And as you can see now, there's air bubbles in it. There wasn't air bubbles when I did it, but this is what happens. Eventually, the expanding and contracting of getting hot and cold, I don't know. Basically, you get bubbles in your loop, and that's what a reservoir is there for. It's to get rid of said bubbles. So I'll do a little test just for fun first with this guy. See what happens. I don't know what I'm looking for, but we'll just record and see what happens. And then I will add a reservoir. And then we'll see what happens again and see if that actually did make a difference. And then we will compare the Laing DDC, wherever that is. I don't know where that went to. We will find the Laing DDC, and we will compare with this little radiator, this little guy, this Coolant's all-copper, high-fin density radiator. And then I had a customer that wanted me to test this guy out. This is the XPSC Super Slim 240. So I'll do that. Again, we're not trying to prove anything here. We're not trying to be scientific. I would if I had the energy, but I do not. I do want to be consistent with the fans. We got some interesting fans too. This is the Sterox fan from Noctua. And the reason that this fan is special is they use a super secret Krabby Patty formula to make the plastic stiff, which allows them to move the blades all the way to the edge of the fan casing. Whereas you see their Chromax line, see how there's a bigger gap there? And apparently, I don't really know if... I'm not a material scientist, but apparently fans do get stretchy, like you're swinging around a Stretch Armstrong along as they're spinning. It seems unlikely to me, but apparently that's what they say in their literature. So that's why they have to make it out of this super fancy material. But anyway, I want to try this out first as my radiator fan. But then we have... it makes things complicated because I don't have two of these for the XSPC. This is going to get complicated quite fast. So I guess I'm going to use some generic Fractal Design fans, which is kind of what they include with their all-in-one reservoir to start. But I want to hear what these fans sound like. I'll do a real test later, but we do not have 6 hours to do this, and I'm already very, very far behind. Alright, so first things first, it would be nice to find the actual mounting hardware. Ugh. That's for AM4, obviously. think this might be it. If it's not it, it's at least close. I don't want to take this apart. Okay, is this going to be symmetrical? Anybody know if the mount spacing for Intel is symmetrical? Certainly looks like it. Well, worst that can happen is it's a pain in the butt to take apart again. The only reason I got the AMD one apart is because I had to take it apart a couple times. Loosened that bracket up. Okay. I'll trip on those later and I will regret it. Karma's gonna catch up to me there. There you are. I don't typically watch Jay's channel, not because I don't think it's great or anything. I don't really... When I watch YouTube, it's like totally unrelated to computer stuff. I should watch computer stuff because that would be good for my job. But I'll watch something and somebody links it to me. The reason I know about that one is because somebody linked it to me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be doing something like that. That's really... Chad says, what happened to my real pants streaming? No, I got to be comfortable, man. I might fall asleep right here on my desk, and I want to be wearing my Lilo and Stitch pajama pants when that happens. I'm so tired. Westboy says, what's my email? I have a bit of a request for one of my S4 mini builds. It's josh@nfc-systems.com. And if you Google Josh and NFC Systems, you should be able to find my site really, really quick. It will be the first one that pops up. Unless you're in China. Then it'll probably censor me. That's a good question, Joseph. I have a lot of spare everything, but I don't have any spare Noctua coolers. I hoard them and then I sleep in a big pile of them like Scrooge McDuck. Okay, so I think this might actually work for me. You know, it's going to be really interesting. I think to test out the pump, what I should do is obviously test it with the block on the CPU because that's the only realistic way you're going to test it. But I wonder if it's fair to actually put it in line with the Laing DDC, so, or rather a reservoir, and then another water block. You see what I'm saying? So like actually just use this as a pump, but split it off and then have another water block. Because then this has to fight the restriction of this block if it has any restriction. I don't really know. I haven't seen the inside of it. So that's not really fair, but it would be interesting. So if we run into some more time, that's what I'm going to do. I just applied this NTH1 like an hour ago, so it is still good and goopy. So I'm good to go there. I'm going to use some alcohol though on my block. I don't know what my frame rate issue is. It's a problem with my capture card right now. And I keep wanting to research it, you know, and fix it for next week. But then after I get done with the stream, I'm exhausted, so I go to bed. And then I forget about it for a week. And then 5 minutes before my stream, I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks terrible. But I don't know the problem. It's all set up appropriately, I think. It just not working. Something I have to troubleshoot. Okay. Doesn't really matter how I orient this as long as it works. There are no springs or anything? Really? Let me look and see if there's any springs for this, because although I probably can just do it ramshackly. Yeah. Though it's kind of cheap that they make you reuse the AMD springs for the Intel springs. Don't know if I really particularly like that. What am I watching on YouTube? Is that a question for me? Just random engineering stuff. I follow a lot of engineering channels, like fun engineering channels and making channels. I really like This Old Tony. Sometimes I watch history channels. I don't really know. Everyone's entitled to waste time on YouTube in their own special way. You guys are watching me, so who am I to judge? Glad we haven't invented smell-o-vision though, because I need to take a shower very badly. It's one of those days that's been cold and then really hot over and over again. I've not heard of Tyler Tube, actually. Man, 1, 2, 3, 4. These all came in the Intel box, but I have really no idea. This has to be X99 or LG 2011. 3, 4. They should probably label that. This is going to be 1151. If we had a mistake counter, man, it would just be going nuts. The short ones. We want the short ones. Long, short, long. It ain't a mistake until it's too late to fix. I like that. But I will never get those minutes back of my life, so in that sense, it is a mistake. Have I seen the video from The Verge on the House of the Future? I have not. Welcome to the world of tomorrow! Now I have all these washers and I don't know where they put them because I'm so... It's hard. Just hard. Okay, spring's gonna go like this. Probably put this washer on top like that, and then put this here. It's like the episode of SpongeBob where he forgets how to make a Krabby Patty. I watch a lot of SpongeBob. I have kids. Also, I like SpongeBob. Oh my goodness. I forgot how it goes. I don't think it matters. I'm just gonna put these captured ones here. And then we'll see how far I need to go down. CRF250R says hi. I will call out Honda two-wheeler names all day long. Yeah, I don't even know how you would not know of SpongeBob, mostly because it's been going forever, and I was looking at some stats the other day, and it accounts for, is it Viacom that owns SpongeBob? It accounts for a tremendous percentage of their revenue sources. It's a multi-billion dollar industry, SpongeBob is. It's crazy. This is the most unexciting cooler mount video I've ever even thought of hearing of. Wow, that is not fun. Okay, at least, hopefully, we still got plenty of goop on there. This is gonna work. Please. 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 Because I don't want to go through that again. Okay. Because I know I didn't put it on right, but I think I put it on right enough. And my motto for liquid cooling comes from my friend Dean from Coolants. If it worked, or if it works, it works. Or if it worked, it worked. I don't really know. But it's something like that. That's my favorite motto when it comes to liquid cooling. All right, I am very suspicious of this very cheap cooler mount design. So I am just barely tightening these. I don't want to warp my board or break my wafer, my silicon. And I have done that before on a 7700K, and it was a very sad day. It was using a Corsair all-in-one cooler. JP! Oh, that does perk my Monday up. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. It's going to buy me some more coffee, which I didn't drink today. And the reason I didn't drink coffee is because yesterday, I try only to have one soda and one coffee in the morning, one cup of coffee in the morning. And it's been really great. But my wife brought me a huge coffee, and it was really sweet and nice of her, but I had to drink it, and that just completely messed me up. So I decided that I wasn't going to drink anything today to try to reset myself. But I didn't sleep last night, obviously, because of it. And that's my blog. That's my story. I'm going to scandalize you guys, but I do have a favorite YouTube channel, and it has lots of rambunctiousness and language, but it's Air Force Proud, I think is what it is. The name of the channel, I'll post it in there, but it's this dude that basically is a pilot, but he plays Microsoft Flight Simulator, on Steam, and it is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. It's the funniest channel on YouTube. Oh, it is so good. But again, there's some language there. Air Force Proud 95, I think is what it is. I'm going to link it in the description now. So, well, maybe I should wait until after you guys watch this video, because if you start watching that, then you're not going to tune back in into this. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Okay, so I have good contact there, and I think that my CPU is not cracked. So all I got to do now is, I don't even know if I'm going to bother putting it on this, but I will. I'll try not to be super lazy. Just lazy. All right. I'll mix all this hardware up nice and good, shake it up so I can't ever use it again. And I'll put it in the Intel bag. And along with the Intel bag, I'll put the AMD brackets, which I had to import from Sweden. Is that where Fractal Design is? They're not from Sweden. They're from another Norsy country. No, I think, no, I don't know. I'm blanking on it. Somewhere in Scandinavia. They're really nice. Very, very, very nice. They said that, no, we don't have those anymore, but we'll send you one anyway. I was like, oh, I don't know what that means, but I would. That's great. Now a fan. Fanny fan. Remembered to unplug it first. I don't know how I remembered to do that. Sweden is right. Yes, my first. Dude, Josh from Fractal, I met him at CES 2012, I think. That dude, I'm tall. I know you can't tell from the videos, but I'm pretty tall. That guy is like, he is a skyscraper. I don't even want to guess how tall he is, but he is enormous. Oh my goodness gracious. And you should see Linus next to him if you want to get some good Lord of the Rings vibes going. Dropping so many frames. We got a lot of progress on our laser 3D project this past week. All in one pump. Problem with using cheap fans, and Fractal Design actually makes extremely good fans. It's their Venturi. Is that the right one? Is that even a Fractal Design product? I think it's the Venturi. But that is an amazing radiator fan. I highly recommend it because it's not very expensive, but it performs almost as good as the EK Vardar, which I also am mispronouncing because I don't speak Slovenian or Armenian or whatever they speak, but it is an awesome fan and at an awesome price. But all-in-one fans usually are not very good, and these are also the same ones that come with their cases. But I will say that they are nicer than what Corsair has on the budget. They're not nearly as annoying as far as the noise goes. I need some M4 screws, I believe, for coolants. These are really long. Ooh, I want to see how tall Fractal Josh is. Yeah, that's about right. Mm. Okay. Yep. Nice. The industrial Noctua 92? Are you talking about like their super high amperage E9X14 or whatever it's called? Oh. Come on. Well, I guess it makes sense that I spend most of my time on the live streams screwing around. But it is a little bit annoying. The Redux fans are there for show. I think that's the reason you buy a Redux fan. They do not do anything at all. Like, even if you want like the lightest whisper of a breeze, they wouldn't even do that. And they're not bad fans. They're very nicely made and they're very, very quiet, but they just don't blow any air. So I just think they're there for show. I'm sticking to that story. That's slander. That's slanderous story. But as Noctua's #1 fanboy, I'm entitled to knock on some of their products, right? I do want to think I have a solution for this. I thought I had a solution for this. How about some very old emergency drinking water? Or maybe I could just... Voila! Does Linus like Noctua? We could be buddies! We could be Noctua buddies. Alright, now I just need some interfacing tools. Light up. Light up. Okay. No connection. Ah! Oh, I hate that sound so bad. Or so much. It's the sound of a stalling pump. Oh. Can you hear that? Can you hear that obnoxious noise? Or is Discord, or not Discord, OBS filtering it out? Can you hear that? I'm going to open the pump up and pour liquid all over my V-regs. It's hydrolocked so bad, or airlocked so bad, that it's not even pouring out any liquid with the pump running. There we go. Just awful. Just the worst. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Pro 95 version 26.6 with no AVX instructions. And I'm going to use in place small FFTS, which the default is 8K, which should make this very hot. I'm going to put real temp up for you, but I'm actually going to be using HWI in hardware info. I don't know how to say the abbreviation, but okay, we are running the 9900K. We are, or is that really right? Let me look. No, it's not right. That's why I'm using H1 info. We're at 4100 megahertz. I'd like to be higher. I don't know why it's not going higher. And our current average package is 60 degrees Celsius. Now that's the thing, like with any liquid cooling, it takes a while for the temperature to saturate your heat exchanger. So we have to kind of be here for quite a bit. We can cheat and unplug the fan, but it might end up being a problem. I can tell you right now that our radiator is not 60 degrees Celsius, so we do have a pretty bad air bubble in our pump. But that's something else that I'm interested in. We're going to put a reservoir in here, and then we're going to see if the pump magically gets much quieter and performs much better. I don't know why I'm trying to prove something that literally everybody knows, but not a lot of people use a reservoir with these all-in-one pumps, and I have a couple people that asked me to try it, so I'm going to try it. And it's just weird enough for me to do it. Winfo, but with an H. Winfo 64. Are you sure that's right? Are you sure that's super right? I'm going to open up and see what this link is. Okay, so if you can't hear the pump with what's happening, what's going on, I'm going to attempt. To we can get enough slack. I don't have enough slack. I don't have batteries right now. Can you hear it now, though? I know all you can hear is me knocking around. Do you guys hear that horrible, horrible sound? Really? I can't really get closer. The only thing I can do is grab all this stuff. It's obnoxious. It's pretty bad. Jank time 200% engaged. Yeah, so all of these little all-in-one pumps make noise like this, but this one's just really, really bad because we have an air bubble in it, of course. It is working. I can feel the tubes getting warm, so we are getting liquid flowing throughout it. Temperatures are holding stable because that is the benefit of having liquid cooling. They're going to stay very, very stable for quite some time. So we have this big old heat exchanger right here that's all copper. We just are worried about getting the heat out of the block as soon as possible. And that's one of the things I'm interested in looking at, is to see if we switch to the Laing DDC, if it's going to actually improve. You know what actually would... I might have to disassemble this for a later test and take out the impeller, and that way I could use the Laing in line and then push through the copper plate in here, the jet plate. But I don't know if even enough fittings for all that. You guys don't need to hear that anymore. Even if you can hear it as much as me, I don't know, but it is obnoxious. Ugh. All right. I think that's right. Maybe that's more right. Except you could see it. All right. Do I sound okay still? Can you still hear me? Let's go back over here and see what's happening. We don't have any alerts that we have thermal throttling, which is good. But if that's the case, where am I missing the... Let me use CPU-Z. See if CPU-Z will run on top of Winfo 64. Okay, so we're not actually getting a boost clock anymore. But that's also it's weird. I kind of expect it when running with these settings in Prime 95, but also we're not anywhere reaching the temperatures where I would think that that would kick in. But because I'm sure if I started running a blend test, it would keep boost clock up, which we'll look at in a second. Yes, Joseph Cano, I definitely know what you're talking about. Absolutely. It's actually very bad for your video card. And that's why some video games limit the frame rates in menus, because you can end up blowing up your card under certain circumstances. I know that was actually a big issue with Heroes of the Storm that Blizzard had a long time ago. And I built an awesome rig for a person that competes in Heroes of the Storm and sent to Japan, and that's what happened to him, and it was really sad. So, sorry to that person if you ever watch my streams. And Bella says, asked the same question twice, but I couldn't read it out the first time because it was too complicated for my head at this time. 30mm copper CPU GPU sandwich cooler. So you mean like have the exchange plate be liquid cooled, but then have fins on it? There's some companies that do that already. No, you can ask. If I don't answer, you are more than welcome to ask the question again. This is a 9900K. I know last week I used a 9700K. This is a 9900K. Got my little i9 box. It uses Nike foam, the same stuff that my shoes are made out of, not the box that holds my shoes, because that was just cardboard. Oh. Do you think that Dan would be mad if I stole his sticker? I shouldn't do that. It's his sticker. Even though I'm borrowing this. No, I can't steal that sticker. It's not my sticker to steal. Okay, getting warmer. I'm gonna log this just because I can for 2 minutes, like my other tests as I'm doing it. This is the Fractal all-in-one Coolants 120 Franken cooler. Save. And I'm going to start logging for just a couple minutes. I know I have to wait a while, but that's kind of the nature of dealing with a radiator. But right now we're looking like our core average actually is working. Our core average is about 62 degrees Celsius, and we've been holding 4100 megahertz-ish, thereabouts. I do not understand why we're not pushing 4.6 gigahertz at the current temps that we're at. But I'm so tired right now that it could be something really stupid I'm not seeing. So what can I say? I mean, it already is. It's already a boosted clock, right? Because it's a 3.6 gigahertz chip. Is that correct? I don't even remember. Does it say in the... I don't know. JP says, what is this setup for? And there's no reason for it. It shouldn't exist. But basically, I had a couple people ask me, and it was relevant because I was working on it, can you do a test with the all-in-one combo unit? That's why I just said the same thing twice. All-in-one combo unit. Can you do design with these all-in-one pumps and then replace it with a real water block and a real pump and test out and see if there's a noticeable difference when you're working with a tiny radiator for the 9900K. I don't know why I said yes to this, but it was just weird enough for me to say yes to, so that's why I'm here. Jamie says, can you say if the laser 3D case is more like the Skyreach or more like the LZ7? I think that's a fair question. I'm working with Kevin on stuff, so maybe that's a hint. Or maybe it's not a hint. It could go either way, I suppose. But hopefully we're going to show you guys next week. Maybe even by the end of this week. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I cannot stand this pump noise anymore. I'm going to get my iPad out with the thermal camera, and I'm just going to take a quick peeky poke and see if there's anything I'm missing. course, our voltage regulators are hot, but they're not too bad. We're sitting at 70 degrees Celsius. These are all stock settings. I'm going to share the settings I have in the UEFI in detail when I do my cooler compare thingy. I've already saved those. I'm also going to save the BIOS so you can look at them later. Not really important right now. But voltage regulators are good, and they're naked, remember. And the MOSFETs are also good, and they're naked. I get those. So what are we doing for... We are indeed getting liquid in our radiator. So, yes. So, I'm going to stop logging. I logged for too long already. Thank you. And I'm going to write down with a good old-fashioned pen. We're just going to call the core package for the Franken setup 62 degrees Celsius at, and it held it, pretty much 4100 megahertz. 41110. All right. So let us, what should we do next? We should put a reservoir into this loop and see if it both shuts the pump up and also helps improve our temperatures. That'll be the next step. So let's close all this off. Shutting down. Oh man, that sounds so bad. Embellis, I do have a big old chunk of copper that I'll use for my cooling. I'll probably throw on there for fun. It does have some skivved features on it, but it pretty much is a copper block. So okay. I'm gonna screw these into my NHl9i before I lose them. I'll also mark down that it is, I switched my thermometer, 23. Oh, it's 25. I don't want to do that one. Ceiling. 26 degrees Celsius ambient. Ooh, that AIO heat shield is hot. (46 degrees). This is gonna be messy. I gotta get a bucket. I'll put it down here. You don't have to see how everything is done. You can use your imagination. Bubbles cause the pump impeller to cavitate and make noise. Yes, although I did use the term cavitate before, and some people that actually do pump engineering for my neighborhood were like, no, that's not possible. But it means the same thing. Basically, the pump is spinning, there's air in the pump, and liquid is not going through the pump. So that's really what's making a lot of the noise. Well, we're going to prove that in just half a second here. But that is the cause of performance loss in these little all-in-one units. Eventually, the fluid evaporates from them for one reason or another. I'm not going to make any claims to why. And then their performance drops over time very significantly. And I don't hate these things, and I bought so many of them before I wisened up. I used to buy them a lot when I was doing system integration for customers because they're easy to stick in small form factor units like the SG05. That was a big one I used a lot. You get better performance in the stock Intel cooler. You get to move the heat to the front of the chassis. It was a great little thing for that exact purpose, but I had so many die on me, so many pump failures. And even the high-end ones that I kind of used in my own office and my offices when I was working at a different startup, they all died too. I don't think I've ever had one last for over a year in industrial settings or personal settings. Now I know that many people have great success with them, and that's totally fine. And they have gotten better as time has gone on, but I kind of stopped using them fairly early on. But the same problems still apply. You can't stop air from getting inside of them, or liquid from getting out. It's probably the more accurate way of putting it. You hear that? That is air inside. Intel inside, air inside. Yes. Okay, I will get... this is going to be a pain to drain. It does have a drain port, which is really nice. But I'm still going to need to open up another end of it, or it's not going to flow out. Hey, Thomas. Okay, so for all you statistics and fluid dynamics guys, keep in mind I'm not making any claims to the scientific validity of my experiments. I am just taking apart things on a YouTube live stream for the fun of it. That's my disclaimer. And because propylene glycol tastes nice, right? Ow! But what would be even more interesting is you start making your predictions now. What will happen? What is your professional, educated opinion? Oh, I gotta see which way is in. I have no idea which way is in. None at all. What a bummer. All right, Google people, Google this right now. Find which is the inside of this fractal design pump for me. Is it this top part with the fractal design logo oriented, or is it the bottom? I do need to know that. I will Google too. And I like my coffee black with a little bit of propylene glycol. All right. Fractal design. Kelvin pump inlet. Ugh, this, yeah. Never gets out of my mouth. Well, I can't find it, so I guess we get to find out on YouTube which is in and which is out. Can I hold my microphone and this pump up? Turn the jank meter up another 100%. Now it's gonna go onto the top. Okay. The top one goes into the pump. Thank you. Should I undo it from this? Guess I have to get better do it from the radiator. That was good. Guess top, because that's how the DDC is. And I know that they're completely different products, but I don't know. Ow. Look in the manual. Can't even see. Wrong tool for the wrong job. Actually, this is probably more of the right one. I don't have to go in my shop to get the wrench. I'm just going to do it. These are all old parts for experimenting anyway. So no biggie if I get them scratched up. If this was a customer build, you bet I'd have my Craftsman wrenches out here and my gloves on, babying luxuriously every single step. Okay, the top one goes in to the reservoir. Hey Luna, good to see you. We're making a mess. That's gonna be close. I can hold it up, worst case scenario, although my hand will probably get tired. And thank you for the donation. I appreciate that very much. I don't know if the lag is on my side, but definitely the choppiness is on my side. I can try unplugging everything. I'll just do that real quick. All right. I'll even put a new battery in while we're at it. All right, we're going down for a minute. Nobody panic. Close enough? No, it's still bad. So I don't know what my computer is doing. I will eventually fix this problem. Maybe, probably not. I guess you could say something about the live streams that I get to do stuff I never would do otherwise. I'm not even gonna do that. That is just too bad. Just too bad. I'll figure out a way to hold this up later. And now my tubing. Got plenty of it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. Quality. Yes. Thanks to the help from viewers like you. It's worth it just to buy quality liquid cooling components from like Watercool or EK, just so you have good mounting solutions. In fact, even though I'm not the biggest fan of LGA 2011 or X299, I will say that socket, that is quality. That is choice. You don't have to deal with these stupid back plates. Oh my goodness, this retention bracket is just terrible. It's not the worst, but it is terrible. I get a little grumpy when I'm tired. I apologize. The audio is fine, but now it's 2 frame rates per second. Frame rates per second. There I go again. I can see if I'm dropping frames. I don't know if I am on this side of things. I'm not dropping frames. It must be my my connection. Hopefully, at the very least, you can watch it after the fact. Again, I'm not going to go too tight because I do not trust this mounting solution, and it looks like I'm making good enough contact. It's just going to have to be the way it is. I do not want to have to risk breaking this very expensive CPU just for a live stream. All right, probably need fluid in this. Do I need another can? How about a cup? Oh, I don't need this anymore. This can be down here. As long as it stays. Which it's not going to, of course. Now you can't see anything. Pump. Do we have one on this side? No, we don't. We're gonna do it. It's good to have it in the same header. Anyway, I think I have all the fans set to the same curve, but just in case. Okay. I literally feel like... do I really literally feel like this? I kind of do. I feel like I'm naked. I don't have any clothes on. This is so embarrassing, this whole thing right here. The taskbar only shows drop frames on the output side of things. Go to View Stats. Okay, I'll do that when I am soaking up some heat. Ow! Pinched myself. See you, Joseph. And thank you again to the wonderful human being that told me the direction for the pump. And yes, instantaneously, it still sounds bad. But it's nice to know that it's actually the tone of the pump. No, it sounds a lot better. It really does. let's try this again. Prime 95 version 26.6 without AVX instructions. Running small FFTS, 8 kilobytes in kilobytes running. All right. WinFo64. Railbird says, built 2 streaming computers in the brickless S4 Minis, and he loves them. I appreciate the feedback. That's actually kind of what got me launched to begin with, was streaming computers. Is like, well, if I'm building these anyway, why can't I make them for what I want to use them for? $4,100 megahertz. And what our temperature is at? Core max is at 55 degrees Celsius. It probably would be good to get this at least off the table so we can give it the same advantage of being a metal contact. That'll work. And now I'm going to go check out this dropped frame situation. View stats. Stats. Right, I'm skipping frames because of encoding lag. I thought I had output set to the same as input to fix that. What are some quick cheating tips? I've already forgotten that side of my life. Let's see here. I'm not dropping the bit rate, it's already kind of low. File, edit preferences, no. Let's go to settings. Video. %, frames skipped. I'll have to check that out a little bit later. I don't even want to see if I have an option for that. That would be under settings, right? Settings, video. No. Advanced, maybe. I do not know. Yeah, right now I have it on ultra fast. I'll take a look at it later. I'm sorry for the quality of the stream or lack thereof. the part of the problem too, no, I don't want to admit the fact that I'm running in my iMac right now. I need to build a box dedicated to streaming so I could not have this problem again. All right, so we still have the horrible pump noise. All-in-one pumps just normally sound bad. I guess I'm spoiled because this it's so loud. It's so obnoxious. But we're getting decent flow, not very high pressure. See how, can you see this right here at least? I have other stuff in the way. Anyway. Yeah, my previous streaming box, great, I just broke it again, was actually using the 2400G. It worked fantastic, but to get things running quickly and easily, I just threw it up on there. Okay, but as I was pointing out, if you can see the jet of water, or lack thereof, it's not a very high pressure pump. I do have some King instruments I could set up to show the pressure of the pump and everything, but that's not what this video is for. We could just do it the old-fashioned way. See, Caveman points out, small stream, just trickle, not shoot. But now that we've been running this, our core max is at 61 degrees Celsius. Our ambient is still at 26 degrees. We're still at 41. Noise is about the same, to be honest. So that's kind of a bummer. I'm going to run logs for just a second. Oops. And while we do that, I will prepare for our next setup by finding the DDC. Looks great now. I fixed it by doing nothing but poke around. Well, I'm happy that that worked. DDC, where art thou? Let's see, couple here, couple there. It would be kind of fun to actually add this to the loop and to force water into this pump, wouldn't it? That would be kind of fun. Let's see if we can set something like that up. I don't know if I can. No promises, but that'd be kind of fun. I didn't save it. Darn it. I can upload all these logs too for you guys to poke at. See if you can make more sense out of them too. Being that we have some legitimate engineers in the channel. Nathan says, the Fractal Design all-in-one is built around the AlphaCool all-in-one CPU block and around DC-LT2600 pump. Do you think you can replace it with the 3600 pump for increased head and more expandable loops? That's kind of what I'm testing, but without really any set scientific end goal. This manufacturer claims that you can expand it, adding a GPU block or something. It technically would work, but we're going to stick in the Laing pump, and we're going to see how there's just no head pressure here? Just nothing. That's not a scientific measurement, I realize, but it's not squirting very hard. So we're going to add the DDC in there, see if that actually affects this low restriction block at all. It might not do anything at all, but if it does, that'd be interesting to me. Now, I know that you need higher head pressure for when you... gross. When you have more restrictive blocks with jet plates, like this wonderful Heat Killer 4 block from Watercool. It has these very, very, very tiny micro fins on the block and has a jet plate to increase the pressure of the liquid flowing through them. EK also has them in their Supremacy block and Coolants as well, but this is one of the highest pressure CPU blocks you can buy. I'm not saying it's the highest, but it's one of the highest. So that's why you would need a higher pressure CPU block. But we can test it and see what happens. I'm actually very, very interested. But right now, we have the 9900K. It's held steady at 4100 megahertz. And we are at a core package of 61 degrees Celsius. So for all the good that does you, there you have it. By the way, that's with Prime 95. And we're doing small FFTs at 8 kilobytes in size. I know, because if you did a blend test, watch, I'm going to do that right now and point this out. I'm going to stop this, exit it. And we are going to run, wrong one. Blend. If you run blend, it's fascinating. Not really. You can keep the clock of your CPU at 4.6 gigahertz. And it's going to hold at 4.6 for pretty much ever. I don't think it's actually going to declock. But I'm just pointing that out. It doesn't run nearly as hot either. Right now, our current thermal reading is... 60, so it's dropped a little bit, and I think it's going to drop a little bit more than that. But our parts have all heated up to a certain degree. I'm going to stop this. We're still at 4600. Stopping. Stop all workers. Close this off, and let's try the next test. Oh, I can't wait to be done with this pump, though. Greetings from the Bermuda Islands. That sounds fun. I'll swim over there one day. I'll get my kayak and just swim out there. Okay, so we're going to add this Laing DDC to our loop. I'm going to have to get out my special 12-volt power supply, because I've accidentally bought this stupid SwiftTech. Is SwiftTech, is that their new logo? And yes, I am going to say it's stupid, but it comes with the SATA power connector. And I didn't see that in the box. I didn't buy it. I bought it on Amazon, to be fair. And that made me sad, because that just makes it a pain to hook up. So what I had to do is I had to wire up a 12-volt mean-well power supply And then depin this. Oh man, and I even forgot to mark which ones were 12 volts. Because I don't typically do SATA, so I don't have that memorized. Let me look. Hey Ed, don't get mad at me. You're very far away, and your little icon on a 5K monitor is like the size of the eye of a needle. So, cut me some slack. I'm glad to see you. Images. Okay, the back two are 12 volt, looks like. Yeah. And then the rest of them are all weird volt. Ah! Oh, that's a bummer. Maybe we can get Joe Mercado to make you one custom. Alright, so this should be ground and this should be 12 volt, but we'll find out. Probably the hard way. Owie. I can still keep a charge? Now I need another. Fun is never ending. She's hot. And let's see if I got it right. I love how that sounds. Is this the bag I took it out of? Don't want to get that mixed up. Okay, so we're going to drain some more of this disgusting foul fluid. Probably unplug this first. Probably unplug the motherboard. Probably good to do. Ah! Spill everything all over the desk. Check. Now this is where things get really silly. Really silly. If you're cutting a case apart, that does make me proud, as long as it's not an NFC case. Because they're already perfect, right, Ed? Right? Ed doesn't like my cases. They're too tiny for him. He likes big cases. Ed, how'd you find my stream anyway? Get some YouTube celebrities. This is one of the silliest builds ever done. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate it. Just a heads up, Jay's 2 cents had to replace the Fractal Design all-in-one pump with a Swift Tech because the pump flow wasn't enough. Oh yeah, that's definitely true. We saw the little trickle that Fractal Design pump put out. And with the performance water block, I just don't think it's gonna be enough. But what we're gonna do right now, because why not? We have the Swift Tech. This is the highest pressure Swift Tech pump DDC variant. I don't know what voltage it runs at. I'm sorry, I don't know what amperage it runs at, but it's the highest pressure one that they have. It's like a stroked LT1. It's gonna shoot liquid through, smash into this pump. This pump's not even gonna know what hit it, and then we're gonna see it squirt over into this reservoir, and we can see if it actually is gonna make a difference. But suffice to say that we have enough head pressure to where if it's gonna make a difference at all, we will undoubtedly hit that mark. If it's going to make a difference. I'm not sure it's going to, because this is a low pressure pump. I mean, sorry, a low restrictive block. Okay, so more pumps, more profit. That's step 3 in my underpants gnome get rich quick scheme. I want you to be able to see this. Yeah, that's important. Even though this is the dirtiest reservoir ever. I promise I will buy a new... I can't make that promise. I was going to promise that I can spend the donations for the channel to buy a new test reservoir. But, you know, this is old leaky. How can I get rid of old leaky? We've been through so many adventures together. Alright, I'm just making sure I have everything kind of sort of plugged in here, because this could get very messy very quickly. Okay, where is my... Ready, set, or with the Swift Tech pump, can you see this? It's literally shooting water straight and hitting the other side of the reservoir, and it's doing that by pushing the impeller, the magnetized impeller in this block. It don't care. This Swift Tech pump, it don't care, guys. It will run you over. Do not get in the way. That is ridiculous. It's also quieter. I believe this pump draws something like 50 watts. Because I kept resetting my test bench the other day, and I was like, what is the problem? It shouldn't... And I realized I had the pump plugged in, so that's why I ended up making it for a separate power supply over there. Can you guys see everything? Because we're gonna see we're gonna see if this does something here. It's gonna be... I'm interested to see what happens, actually. All right, so now this pump is turned on, the Fractal Design pump. I wonder if it's actually slowing down the... Let's test it out. You can't see it, but I can. Actually, it does slightly increase the pressure because my P-beam is like this with a Swift Tech hitting the other side of the wall, and with the Fractal Design, it just slightly goes up. Science. They're gonna take away my degree. Okay. Prior 95. This is the silliest live stream I have ever done. Wow. Small FFTS. 8 kilobytes again. Kilobytes. And Hoinfo. Yes. Run. Okay, guys. There's still time. But what do you want to guess that did? I want to. How many degrees Celsius do you think that this stupid thing made the system drop by? I think this is crazy. It's not nearly as high as 15. We are at 6 degrees Celsius difference. 6 degrees delta. And I think that is absolutely crazy. So, that is nuts. Embellis, I already told you the speed of the stream. It's this much. Come on, man. I thought you graduated. It's this much. So, yeah, that's fascinating because again, this is not a highly restrictive jet plate. It is probably just 5 fins that they skivved into a little teeny tiny plate 2 millimeters thick of copper. Okay, so here's another question. I don't think I'm going to see a difference, but after I do some logging, I'm going to unplug this pump and see if it drops by a degree. But right now we are sitting at 56 degrees Celsius for the package. And I'm going to do a log. The radiator's still pretty warm from last time, so. Coolants, Frankenrod, Res plus Swifty. I almost knocked over a bucket of dyed coolant all over my carpet. Oh, that would have been horrible. Oh, man. I guess you see what happens when I am sleep deprived, guys. I get really giggly. But if I can hold this perpendicular to the lens, or not perpendicular, whatever. Can you even see that? It'd be quieter if I cup it. Alright, and we'll stop my log. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unplug, because why not, the fractal design pump and see if we get an increase. And then we'll log it again. Gotta find where I was at. Here we go. Oh my gosh, it got so quieter. Almost so, that's so much nicer. We are at 25.5 ambient. And I don't know if it's interesting or not, but the temperature of the CPU now has risen to 59 degrees Celsius. I guess you could say that makes sense because this has the jet plate on the pump, so the water has to kind of push through and move it even though it's not spinning. I don't know. I'm just kind of hypothesizing over here. But turning off this pump did make the temperatures jump up a little bit. Or quite a bit, I should say. You know, an interesting thing, on my Jeep, it's so flat and it's so high up, it doesn't have any air dams or anything like modern vehicles, right? So if I'm on the highway, the Jeep is so flat, because I have an old CJ, a 77 CJ. The Jeep is so flat, and if you're going 60 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour, the air actually can't penetrate the front of the vehicle. It just says, no thank you, and it just kind of goes around. So my Jeep will overheat. You actually have to turn the fan on, not because the fan does anything, because again, below those speeds, the air will go into the radiator. But if you turn the fan on, it creates like a negative pressure. So air enters the front of the vehicle again, and it will cool the Jeep down. But I guess it could apply the same principle to this, if that makes sense. I'm really tired and I'm babbling, and also I'm not intelligent. Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense though. Actually, I think I have worn a couple during the stream, Ed, because they're nice and cool. I'll try to wear some next time, but my nipples do show through, so that's kind of, you know, immodest, I should say. And Sean, it could just be my particular, I have a very, very Frankenstein Jeep with, you know, custom everything, but I'm just saying that that happens with my particular CJ. And you wouldn't have that problem with a modern vehicle because they have air dams for that, obviously. But I have a pretty hefty lift on my Jeep, so it's a total of 6.5 inches, which translates into really tall somehow. Jeep math on that, I don't really get that part. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off. We're holding about 60 degrees Celsius with the pump unplugged, the Fractal Design pump. Okay, so now I think it's about time to actually do the real test and put a real water block on this sucker. Really tall, crazy tall, the tallest, nuts tall. Actually, I can make this easy on myself because we're getting rid of this. Ed had to climb on an ammo crate to get into it. The 50 cal ammo crate. No, I don't have a 50 caliber rifle, but I do have a 50 caliber ammo crate. But if someone wants to send me a barrette in the mail, I think they allow that in Mississippi, and I will accept your generous donation. I promise to only use it for awesome. Nice warm liquid. No matter what you do, you're going to spill it everywhere because radiators do not like to give up their juice unless you hold it over something you don't want to get wet. Shake it when I'm done. Oh. All right, I'll never get these off, will I? Oh boy. I'm gonna go get a wrench because otherwise I'll never get them off. I know, it's embarrassing. I don't know the size. Why not bring the 17? 17, huh? Still covered in Honda juice. See, Ed, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, dude. I don't know. I think there's like 22, but I don't know how many I'm actually going to test in the end of the day. I just finished one today. Took the entire day. And I don't have 22 days to test all these. But now that everything's set up, it should go a little bit faster. Gross. Boy, that smells gross. Why don't I stream on Twitch? I guess it's because I have the YouTube channel, you know. I'd like to grow my YouTube audience. YouTube takes so much. I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe I should stream on Twitch. Do people like this kind of thing on Twitch? If you had told me that, you know, the amount of people that watch this on YouTube, I would have laughed, but. I can double the stream, but not on this computer, apparently. I will have to get a dedicated PC for that. Dual encoding. I don't know if you can do an OBS, but I do have a copy of Wirecast somewhere, and you can do that with Wirecast. I gotta wash my hands before I touch anything else. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I just had thermal paste on my fingers, and you know how that tends to get everywhere if you don't take care of it immediately. You can't be partnered with Twitch? I guess that makes sense. But I wonder if that bans you forever or just... That'd be okay while I'm growing the channel. Also, I'm not really a streamer. I don't really need to get a lot of people following. I just want to have fun with the people that enjoy it. So maybe it doesn't really matter too much. Okie dokie. I'm going to try to use my favorite of my water blocks, the Heat Killer 4, but that also involves me finding some hardware for it to mount. This might work. All right. How many of these freaking pump tops, sorry, watch my language, have I bought? I have so many of these Coolants pump tops, and they're very expensive. And I'm always like, okay, I need to buy another one of those for my projects, but then I just end up with... You can't ever have too many pumps, but you can have too many Coolants pump tops. Where would I put that mounting hardware? I might have to use an EK block. There's nothing wrong with EK blocks, don't get me wrong. As long as I have a high pressure kit, which I do, so that's all fine. Okay, I think that would work with the Heat Killer, but now I need a back plate. Pop out one of these and start screwing them to random. Nope, that won't work. Nope, that won't work. Boy Scouts motto. Just had another metal one. I just had it. I put it where? Here we go. Yay. I'm still gonna need some springs though. So let's guess and say this is gonna go like so. Probably be wise to unplug the motherboard at this point. Okay. Coolants has really good mounting for water blocks, I will admit. And I can't judge Watercool because I've only bought one of their products before, as far as the CPU blocks, and I don't have it in front of me right this second. This might be it. I don't know if it is. So we can't blame them for my incompetence. I am going to need the caps though, because if this does use a cap system, darn it. Oh, sweet. Yeah, this is like an EK system. If these threads line up, then it definitely will be. All right, where's my NTH1? I have tested stuff from Barrow CW, and I have not tested stuff from Bixby. I'm kind of a snob. I know I don't look like it, but I'm kind of a snob when it comes to this stuff, though. So I tend to, if you're gonna spend money on liquid cooling, it's all for show anyway. At the end of the day, so you might as well just get the premium stuff. I don't know about Bixby, but Barrow isn't particularly. I don't want to diss them or anything, but they're not. Premium. I do not think these are even the right springs. Oh, Josh. I'm sorry, guys. But these might be. Yes, we're in business. I think I'm using mounting hardware from like 3 different coolers at least, but it's gonna work. This is why I love 2011 V3 or just 2011 in general. Oh, that's just awesome to have all this stuff built right into the motherboard. Well, fittings are one thing. Like, I will switch to radiators. I will switch to water blocks. I'll switch. I usually go with, there's only 2 pumps I go with, but one thing I don't switch is the coolants fittings. I think coolants just makes the best fittings. And I know that's like a religion. Like, some people are so into bits power, and some people are so into EK. But I really like coolants fittings. They're really premium, and they work really well. They're really low profile for what they are. Okay, that's gonna work smashingly well. Hopefully I didn't smash my silicon using 3 different mounting hardware kits, but okay. Where was I? That's the input. This will be the out. Pouring water all over my power supply. Worse, sticky goop. Possibly go wrong is that my hands get sticky. I think that's possibly the worst outcome. Not this live monstrosity that you can't see down here ready to murder me dead. Ah! No, don't put it there! I dropped it on the aluminum stand for the monitor. Very close to the AC input. Okay, that's tight enough. This is the end here. Typically, I like to have really clean liquid when I'm putting it in my nice blocks. I'm gonna wash my blocks afterwards. I do treat my liquid cooling stuff well. Not my test stuff, obviously, but like my nice stuff I'm gonna use in a build later or a mod later. Just as some disclaimer for you guys. Don't put blocks up wet. I mean, that's general basic knowledge, right? And you gotta clean them out before throwing them back in the bin. And I like to get some really hot vinegar. So when you clean your coffee pot, that's not good. Got a big old drop right next to my RAM modules. What is the 2011 B3? I don't know what the B3 is, but V3, that's the socket type for like X299. But Intel has a special socket that has the mounts for like coolers built into it. So you can just bolt right in any of your high-end coolers. It's so amazing. You don't have to deal with back plates and special mounting hardware. It's great. It's good. I wish Intel did that for all of its stuff. They're keeping it for their premium line, but... Wow, Gary, thank you so much for the donation. He says, thank you for streaming and designing an awesome kit. How about this crazy Gulf Coast weather? It has been pretty crazy with 50-degree icy winds and rain, and then beautiful sunny weekend. And it's been kind of muggy today, but I don't know. I enjoy it. I love living down here. It's nice and warm all the time. But thank you so much for the donation. I really do appreciate that. Chris G says, what's the best mini ITX motherboard for gaming? They're all pretty much the same. I picked them based on layout. I'm going with ASRock actually this round. I prefer Asus, not because I'm an Asus fan, but just because I'm familiar. I get so many requests to do Asus build. You can't see that, but there's 20 boards stacked high there. That the Asus makes good stuff. I'm familiar with the UFI, but I'm going with ASRock this round. And the reason is, as I complained in my last live stream, Asus moved their front panel header to over the PCIe slot. which is terrible for the Mini, and I just think it's dumb all around, and that annoys me enough to switch to ASRock, which I think also makes good stuff, though I like how they listen to their customers too. I mean, Asus does as well, but like I've actually emailed ASRock over Riser stuff, and they would put in fixes in the UFI, so I think that's pretty cool. Roll Tide, roll. But what about them Bulldogs? What a sad game. I was sad anyway. Okay, so where was I? We're gonna fill this up and see if we get a temperature decrease, or if it's not gonna matter at all, we can go about living our life. Have I seen the specs on the new X570 plus Ryzen 3000 series? I actually have not looked at all. I tend to try now just to focus on doing the custom build stuff. I am totally illiterate when it comes to computers, guys. Well, that's a gross exaggeration, but I do not keep up on hardware. Basically, customers come to me usually, and they say, here's what I want, and I check it over. I do have my configuration lists, and I do some research every now and then, every couple months, but I don't like watch reviews and stuff like that until I have to update those. I try to also go for hardware that I know is going to be stable over a long period of time and that I get to be really familiar with. That way, if a customer has problems, I've already run into it. Whereas if I'm swapping out hardware all the time and experimenting, it's really hard to instantaneously know what the customer is talking about, if that makes sense at all. All right, and here is our out. And we'll stick it down there. We are looped up. Cock that a little bit. Make sure our power supply is not going to short out. Mostly all good here. Oh. Like, why is the fan not spinning? I know why the pump's not going, but... Where do I put my water? It's going to be a mess. Right now we're at 5 gigahertz and 43 degrees Celsius. Let's actually add some liquid before it gets to be hot. It's not running anything right now, it's just on the desktop, but it's funny how right next to that power supply. Didn't have a gap there. Ooh. I should put that on a little box or something. What do you think? I like that little power supply. I don't really want it to go up in smoke. Alright. Put my little power supply on an island that is now surrounded by water, or at least mostly water. Now let's plug in the pump. Where'd it go? Here it is. The triple 40, yeah, those things are, I don't believe that they would work at all to cool Thomas. I mean, I think that they have the metal to cool just barely, but I do not think you can buy fans for them that will be a tolerable noise that will actually make them work. So I don't think that's a solution. Man, though, okay, so removing that pump, our stream went from like right here to like right here. So do the math on that. Holy cow, it's overflowing not just because of the pressure of the air pressure. That's insane. I have made a huge mess. Wow. Okay. Our CPU temperature is at 28 degrees Celsius. Let's put Prime 95 into the mix. Our fan's barely even spinning. You can see it wobbling back and forth. Small FFTS, 8K. Here we go. We have boosted to 4600 megahertz. Interesting. I don't think it did that before. With that Prime 95 setting, it went to 41. Hertz of them pop. There we go. All right, we are sitting at 56 degrees Celsius. We're gonna run it for a little bit, but that means with our new water block, we have dropped from 60 with the pump. So about 3 degrees Celsius so far, which is not bad. I also am wondering about the quality of my mount at this point. Let's tighten it up. Also feels like it might be warmer in this room, but that might just be me. No, we're still same ambient. I have made a huge mess. What is important to know though is I don't have my fan curve here. I'm gonna dump the UEFI settings so you can download them, look at them later. But if you were to tune the pump a little bit to get it quiet, the fan is beautiful. It's a crappy fan. It's one of those stock fans that comes with a computer case or an all-in-one cooler. But it's running pretty low. So with a higher quality fan like this Noctua Sterox, and of course higher fan RPM, we could see the temperatures drop even further. But 60 degrees Celsius is not bad for a 9900K at 4100 megahertz. Completely saturated. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm doing a build for somebody, Jim. I might have to do something jank too because they want liquid cooled, and I just don't think that case is really designed for it. I think it could do better with air. All right, let's do some logging. Franken cooler. Nope. This is a new one. This is the heat killer. Swifty. We'll wait 2 minutes. And power draw for the CPU, the 9900K, in case anybody cares, is 130 watts. That's actually for the system, but the system is just pretty much a CPU. So, also interesting, I was mentioning before that when you're running in small FFTS, that you only get a clock rate of 4100 megahertz. Well, the system draws about 10 watts, is that right? Yeah, 10 watts less than if you were doing a blend test. Also, if you're doing a blend test, the system would be running at 4600 megahertz. So this, for some reason, and I'm not a science guy, it just makes the CPU a lot hotter. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to get the CPU as hot as possible. That's why I'm using this version of Prime 95 without the AVX instructions. So that's what I'm doing. All right, I think that's 2 minutes, so I'm going to stop that. And now, for fun of it, I'm actually going to keep running this setup, but I'm going to swap the fan out for the Sterox. I don't think it's actually going to make a temperature difference. I think the speed of the fan, the RPM, I'd have to set a constant for that and not have a fan curve, so we can't actually do any real measuring. But I'm just curious. Let's see what real world tweaking we can do. And if anyone's curious also, if they've not done liquid cooling before, this SwiftTech pump, like I said, this is the highest amperage SwiftTech pump for a Laing DDC that you can buy. You can tune these to get them quiet. So you can make this pump, I don't want to say silent, that's an exaggeration. Liquid cooling is not silent, but you can get it very quiet, if anybody cares. This radiator's toasty. It's good. It's what we want. Radiator or heat exchanger. What do you guys call them? I always call them radiators, but... Alright, let's plug this puppy in. See what she does. Ooh. Oh, Prime 95 was running the whole time. I didn't stop it after all. We were passive. I'm going to turn down... I can't actually turn that pump down without a resistor because it's straight hooked up to the power supply. We're starting to drop there. I bet this fan would hurt if you stuck your fingers in it. Those blades look pretty sharp. All right, final test. I didn't see a temperature drop, but it'd have to be like 10 more minutes before we can see that. I just wanted to hear the sound of it. I'm going to plug in this dually, see if we can get temperatures drop even more. Now this, again, a completely unscientific test all around because I don't have fan speed locked in. You know, the fans are at a curve. I actually was more interested in hearing what it sounded like than anything else. Ow! Ow, that hurt. That hurt bad. I just pulled my fingernail up from my finger. Okay. Well, there went that power supply. Got one unplugged, but not the other one. Did you guys see that fiery explosion? Or was it off camera? Thank you, Radiator. That's just what I wanted you to do. Come on. Okay. This is the XSPC Ultra Slim 240. It might, I mean, it definitely has more TPI than the Coolants, being it's a 240, but where it's gonna be nice is that you're running 2 fans. Golly, come on, Josh. I'm not even, I mean, it is too long, but I have to do this test anyway, so, you know, I might as well just stream it. If people watch it, that's awesome. Or not. But it is going to happen one way or the other. All right, now those fractal fans. Apparently, XSPC uses M3 screws, not M4. Can I do anything about that? Not much. I think I have 2 screws. I want to know how much time was spent on this stream just screwing things in. Alright, fine. Because I have nothing to lose at this point as far as reputation goes. Gaffers taped this son of a gun. That actually worked exceedingly well. Alright, I gotta get a Y splitter, and we're done. Now, let's see how much damage that earlier explosion did. There's too much water here for my comfort. And that's saying something. That's pretty bad. If there's too much water for Josh's comfort, you have exceeded the safe amount of water to have around power supplies. Okay, is 2 better than 1? Find out. The fans sound about the same, but it's hard to hear this pump, but I think they're about the same. So let's load up Prime 95, 266, small 8, go. Where's my keyboard? $56, but we need to let this heat up for a bit. It's going to take a while. Fans sound good though. They're not ramping up too high. Nice audible tone. I mean, you can hear them, but they don't sound bad is what I mean to say. So it's a realistic, like if you were browsing the internet, what fan speed would you get? That is the whole reason, by the way, I set my fan curve in the UFI instead of just saying 30%. If you were doing a temperature test and comparing all this stuff, obviously you would set the fan speed to be the same. Otherwise, it's completely useless. But the whole point of this really, because we already know that a better pump is better than a bad pump, a better block is better than a worse pump, and more rad is better than less rad. But it was all about what does it sound like. So I did miss that. Jim Bond, thank you for letting me know that. This one was definitely M3. It's definitely M3. It could be 6. Well, got nothing else to do, so I think this one's M3. It could be 632, but definitely not M4. So I was gonna buy a dBA meter, and then I asked a sound engineer, and he said, don't. He said that you have to buy expensive equipment in order for it to actually make sense. You're better off just using your Zoom to record the decibels that way. It has a high quality mic, and then you can also record the audio for people to hear. He said it would just be it'd be kind of like my FLIR thermal camera. I mean, the FLIR looks cool. It gives a cool visual aid, but it's not accurate enough for it to matter. So when you're buying those little handheld ones on Amazon, even the ones that cost $70, you need so many other things to make sure you get that reading right. Is how he explained to me. I was about ready to buy one, so. Okay, we're at 58 degrees. I do have a lot of air bubbles in my line, and I think I could get the temperature to drop a little bit if I add some more fluid. So I'm going to do that. Hey Chad, $9.99. Thank you very much for the donation. You're very generous with me and my channel. Always, man. Ah, it's exploding again. Just the amount of air this pump is displacing is insane. I appreciate it. Yeah, so what I'm doing for my tests is I have the work test bench all set up. I've laid it out. I've taped it off so I can get the distances right every single time. Then I have my Zoom. I have all the levels set manually on the Zoom. And I'm basically just recording the audio so you guys can hear what it sounds like and compare it between yourselves. Now I'm going to give my opinion as well. I can't get super scientific, so I'm not going to bother. I'm going to do my darndest on other things I can control, but that's one of the things I just can't. And I will give the decibel readings, I think, on the H6 if it ends up making sense at all, but... Oh, I don't want to... Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I was tired when I started this stream, but I think because of how goofy this was, it kept me entertained. So this was a 3 degrees Celsius drop, looks like. So double the radiator. Not really, but almost double the radiator. And a 3 degrees temperature drop. But I don't know the specs on this. You can look it up and compare it. This is the XSPC 240 Slim. So you can look up the FPI and you can look up the Coolants one. And then you can do some math and see if that's about expected. But where is my... I'm going to do some logging and then we're going to call it. Log. And of course, I'm going to reiterate over and over and over and over again. My fans have a curve. They're not set to a certain amount. But they do sound the same to me they look the same, just how they're spinning. Not scientific, because I really cared about the sounds. I want to see... This was important to talk about, and I didn't talk about to begin with. So, to set this all up, I got my NHl9i. I stuck my NHl9i on my 9900K. And then I tuned the system so when it was running flat out, I could stand the tone of the fan of the NHl9i. This is the entire night depends on you guys knowing that information, and I didn't tell you. But yeah, so I was really comparing, okay, what does it sound like moving from these different systems? Starting from a tune on the NHl9i that I liked. Well, the dual mic setup. I mean, my Zoom H6 does have a dBA meter on it, so I don't know if the noise floor is going to be low enough anyway. Those cheap ones. You know what? I have to eat crow, guys, because the Coffee Lake C or whatever it's called, I'm totally blanking now. The 9000 series chips, the 9700K and the 9900K, which I both had in here. Now I've only had two, but they have blown me away with Intel stock tune. Blown me away. They run so good. I am just floored. They run better than the 8700K. So they're already better for small form factor. I would say they're about on par in terms of heat as, I don't know, they might actually be a little bit better than the 7700K. Intel really did a bang up job with them. I'm really impressed. Remember, I look at everything through the lens of small form factor, so I can't tell you if they're good versus the price versus other stuff out there. I have no idea. But I'm really impressed with how efficient they seem to run. Now, the power draw is something different, which that's kind of weird to me. I don't understand why I could get a good tune in terms of clock rate, but the power draw is still pretty darn high. Because we're at 130 watts to get 4100 megahertz. And it takes about 138 watts to get 4600 megahertz. So that part is not super great. Well, that part actually is great. I'm getting really jumbled up. The heat is great. The clock rate for the wattage is great, but they still are pretty high draw. None of that probably made sense, but I'll revisit this later when I've actually slept. But we've run this for quite some time now, for 10 minutes, which is, I think, enough to get saturated. Let's check out the 25 still. And let's log for 2 minutes. I wouldn't say it's a good pump. I would say it's just the highest pressure pump that SwiftTech makes. My favorite pump, if you just want to buy a DDC out the box, is the Coolants one. Their DDC. That's my favorite. I mean, it's all the same pump, but they have different tunes to them. And I don't know the model number of this one. It's not one I normally buy. I just was looking at trying to find the highest, just for another project, the highest head pressure DDC. And SwiftTech ended up making it, so I bought it. But I don't like this one for a couple reasons. One, it's just too much. At this point, I think it makes more sense to go with the D5, to be honest. And it also uses the stupid SATA power connector, which I don't like at all. So I don't know if I wouldn't recommend it. There's all sorts of cool little things you can do to tweak with liquid cooling too. Like when I had my actual liquid cooling, my real test setup going, I have my King instruments and stuff. But like pump tops make a big difference too. I mean, everything adds up in liquid cooling. This is just the stock SwiftTech cheap top. We get the Cyclone out of here. We're getting pretty good. There's not too many air bubbles in it. Okay, something I want to do is put Windex in it, right? That's what we said. We're going to run Windex through it. Because has anyone ever done that before? So let's fill this up with Windex and see what happens. Our last fun little thing. Oh boy. That bottom fitting was so loose it was pouring out. Yeah, bubble bath time. That's what I want to know. I want to know if it actually can run. I'm going to clean out this radiator with vinegar, clean out this water block with vinegar when we're all said and done. I'm hoping it's not going to foam so much that it's just going to not work at all. I'm really hoping that we'll get some fluid action. But me hoping and what me actually think is going to happen are two completely different things in this instance. Because I am 99% sure if I don't get all these super tight, I'm going to have a mess of epic proportions on my hand. This is for all the people that's watched this whole stream, for sitting through this ridiculous video. Because I love you guys. Wouldn't it have been totally awesome just to troll you guys and just have it quit there? That would have been hilarious. Maybe I'll still do that. So, do I really have to tell you guys don't try this at home? Do I really have to say that? But don't try this at home. This is the dumbest thing I have ever done, and that is a big thing to say that. I mean, with all these live open power supplies, Windex. On top of that, you should not ever use Windex on acrylic, an acrylic reservoir. It will cause it to haze and crack. It's just a matter of time. So never do this. Never try this at home. Don't do it. All right. Let's do it. It's working, E.T. Oh, no, it's starting to foam up. Let's see if we can get a temperature reading now before things go really south for the winter. It's just foam. But we're at 28 degrees Celsius. Gasoline would blow that reservoir up instantaneously. So would the... Dude, this is a beautiful looking blue, though. I guess this is how Mams makes their fluid. Maybe their Mams, like, powder blue is just Windex that they shake up a lot. Or maybe I should start selling this in my store. Alright, let's do some Prime 95. Nori Riviera. My New Year's resolution is to not fill liquid cooling parts with Windex. I don't know yet. It's a big time of me thinking what's going on with selling out of the minis and not knowing if I want to get more minis yet and what I want to build. I just do not know what my New Year's resolution is. Let's take it one step at a time. All right, Prime 95 this sucker. Let's do it. Thank you for the donation, by the way, Nori. I do appreciate it, man. But you do notice something. Notice how quiet it is now. What? Why? Why is it so quiet? It's because it's filled all the way. There's no air bouncing around making noise, making this into an instrument, musical instrument. Uh-oh. Did it crash? Yeah, it crashed. I don't know if it got too hot. I wasn't paying attention. Let's try it one more time. It might have to be completely reset after crashing like that. Well, I think we found our answer. I think it just reached its shut-off point and just went right down. Because those air bubbles were not doing that CPU block any favors. I'll keep an eye on the temperatures next time and see if that's actually what caused it to go down. Let's see if we Intel's EXT will run. But then I'm definitely gonna quit for the night. No, I just told you not to do this last time I ran you. Let's do it. $69. $198. Wow, Intel. Make it so. Hey, Siegfried, we're just about ready to call it quits. I wonder if some fluid got somewhere and caused it to reset, because so far it's not saying it's thermal throttling. Highest temperature was 71 degrees Celsius, and we reached 4.94 gigahertz. Foam cooling. It's the next new thing. All right, let's see if we can crash it with Prime 95. I think it's holding. I don't guess it was just a fluke before. Must be. We're at 4100 and 57 degrees Celsius. Our fluid has also gone from a baby blue to a violet, almost a... yeah, I would... blue bonnet-y type of color. Oh, okay. Well, that was fun, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out for however long the stream was. Too long. That's how long it was. But, I didn't learn anything, which is just how I like it. But I did have some fun plugging all this in together, and we ran a computer off of Windex because... all right. Well, I'm going to cut it off. I'll see you guys next time. And, yeah. Peace out. I'll see if I can get you closer before I kill the camera. Yeah, from this side, it's looking pretty white. What if I put down the reflector? Pretty white from this side anyway. Here's where I got water all over my desk and my power supply was sitting in it. I got some more water over here too. But you know what? They're pretty waterproof. Alrighty. See ya.